I'm Nick Valencia, independent journalist and host of Nick Valencia Live. This is the latest edition. Hope you guys are having a great day on Tuesday. It has, man, I don't know about you guys, but I feel a little emotional, you know? I feel like I'm apt to tear up and well up every now and then here. And this morning I woke up just thinking about my dad for some reason. My dad hasn't been with us for, oh God, 2001, so 24 years, and I was 17 when he passed, and I'm 41 now. So if you guys want to do the math, you guys know I'm not that good at math. I just miss him so much today. And the algorithm of social media must have known that because it fed me this like beautiful rendition of James Blunt's Monster. It's like a cover of it, and it was just about, I mean, you guys know I'm not going to sing it, but you guys know the song. Hey, good afternoon, Jason. Welcome everybody. Come on in. Everybody's having a good time today. And it just cut me so deep. God, it just got me tearing up and missing my father, and just picking up on the conversation that we had last week with the educator, National Teacher of the Year 2021, um, Miss Urtube, Juliana. We talked a lot about just how precious kids are to us, I don't know. I mean, I just find myself thinking a lot about fatherhood these days, thinking a lot about, I'm not going to sing it, Amanda. I'm not. Saludos, Cynthia. So happy to see you. I'm going to try to do a better job. I'm all over the place today, guys. I'm going to try to do a better job at seeing what's going on in the chat. I've asked my friend, Natalie Hernandez, who is in Los Angeles. She's like our number one hype person. She's always in the chat, is always like gassing me up and sending me messages and sending me songs also, that we play on our social media when we add them onto our clips. She is going to be helping me out keeping track of these comments. And Jerrod Zisser, I see, is in the chat. We'll be joined by him in just a matter of minutes. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to business because today we want to do something a little bit different. We have been having one guest basically per show. Last episode, you remember we were joined by two guests. We had Samuel Aguilar. He is a strategist, political strategist, man of very many hats. And then in the back half of the show, we were joined by Miguel Escalona, and he shared with us his story about being racially profiled by ICE. And it just sort of gave me the idea that, maybe we could have multiple guests per show. And there is the star of the hour. Mama Valencia has joined the chat. We do this, guys, at 3 p.m. Eastern so that my mom can watch on her lunch hour. I hope you guys know that's why that's 3 p.m. That's the method behind the madness here. That's the rhyme and the reason. Yeah, so a lot going on. Let's see what else is going on. Let's play catch up here. I just want to check in a little bit before we get down to business. I had a great therapy session yesterday, just sort of talking about the loss of leaving that chapter of my life where I spent 19 years, leaving that behind, and really stepping into the light of this new path that we've built for ourselves. And in the best moments, which there are a lot of really, really phenomenal moments, in the best moments, this is absolutely so fun. And if I can bring it home here to the reason why we invited Jerrod Zisser on, when I stepped into this independent journalism space, I really had no idea what I was doing. And there were guys like Jerrod who were out there who were already established. Jerrod's got like 70,000 followers on Instagram. He's building a sizable following here on Substack. And I didn't, he was one of those guys that kind of started coming up and popping up into my feed as I started doing a different approach to social media. And I really loved what he was doing. This past weekend, though, his reporting stood out because he was one of the only reporters that I saw on the internet, right here in our phones. Not a lot of us are turning on the TV these days. We're going right here to our phones, right? The palm of our hands. And in the palm of my hand was Jerrod's reporting live from Washington, D.C. He was in and around the nation's capital as National Guard troops were going through the streets. He was one of the only reporters, and in fact, I think he broke the news about homeless encampments and the National Guard being used to basically destroy homeless encampments and break them up. So Jerrod and I, we've been wanting to go live. We missed each other going live, but I want to bring him in now and talk about what he is doing, the platform that he's created for himself, and also just sort of what he saw and how he sees the nation's capital right now. I'm a goofball here, and I don't want to give dead air at all because that's like death in broadcasting, but I think it's okay here. Okay, so we're going to invite Jerrod to the chat. Rach is on. That's my wife, that managing editor here. She's got a full-time job while she's helping me take care of all this admin stuff. And I think we got Jerrod. think we got Jared coming in. Let's see here. Jared, you there? Can you hear me? Jared, you got me? Oh, we had him and we lost him. Let's try him. We're going to invite him one more time here. All right, Jared, we'll take you back one more time, invite Jared, and then we'll get the conversation underway. Can you believe it's like already almost August, the end of August? We got some cool news coming in to you guys here. We'll tell you probably at the end of the show. Hopefully, Jared's not having some technical problems. This would also be the first time that we're having technical problems on the show. Not the first time. That's a joke here. But rock with us here. Rock with us here. Stick around here. We're gonna try one more time. Jared, if you're going live, you might want to shut down your live and then join this one. Or like, we could fill also. I know Pablo's on the hook right now. Jared, can you hear me, Jared? I can't hear you if you're talking. Hopefully you pop up soon. Okay, no Jared. No Jared. All right. We are gonna see if Pablo can join us, and then we'll try to figure out Jared's technical issues and we'll get back to it. But while I have you guys here, we have some pretty exciting news. Yesterday, we were looking at where we can go next. Where is a good place for us to continue our reporting? And we booked a trip to the Everglades. So you guys know what's down there. That's Alligator Alcatraz. Pablo, saving the day. I love it, man. How are you?
I'm good and bad. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of these things like you were talking about. I feel like both of us have this notion of purpose that comes through our reporting, right? But as having really focused on the immigration beat for the last several months, hi Cynthia. Having focused on the immigration beat for the last several months, it's kind of like the best news days are also the worst days for our community. So it's like good. Like as a reporter, I feel like I'm thriving. I do feel like I'm one of the nation's preeminent ICE reporters now, especially like with a
You are.
focus on ICE. But at the same time, it's the atrocities that they're committing in our community that you get drawn to. And I think that like you break a story and you have no choice but to move on to the next story because you're drinking from the fire hose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at some point, you slow down, right? And that was me during this August recess. Congress is away. I'm actually in the Capitol right now under the dome. But Congress is away right now. So I took like a couple weeks off, and this traffic jam of traumatic coverage, right? It started to kind of accumulate. And I found myself drawn like a magnet right back to the coverage, in part because I love the beat, I love the work we do, but also in part because I just don't want to face the reality of all of these like this horrific stuff that we're internalizing as we break this news. So good and bad. You know what I mean?
I'm so glad that I'm so glad you're that kind of person. You get right into it. I'm so glad we don't have to dance around it with you, Pablo, because that's part of the reason that I am feeling emotional. The weight of what we cover, right? Like I used to joke around that people called me the bad day guy. We would only show up on people's worst days. And there
Yeah.
are a lot of bad days for people in our community right now. As journalists, we hopscotch sort of from one bad day to another. But right now, I mean, you're talking about the fire hose. The fire hose is coming directly from nuestra comunidad, man. It's coming directly from people that look like us, people that are our friends, people that we know. The last time that we went live together, I was at the site of a raid, which I later found out one of my mom's, someone that helps my mom out at the house, he was caught up in that raid. So I feel you, man. What do you do to take care of yourself? What do you do to sort of make sure that your cup's not overfilling?
I mean, I'm an oil painter, so I rely a lot on art, and I've created a community of artists around me here in Washington. So if, like last night, I went and I found some of the police state that's patrolling my town. I'm here in Washington, D.C. And, you get stared down by these DEA agents, FBI agents, ICE agents who are just kind of like out on patrols. And they're looking to create numbers, right? None of them bothered me at all. Like nobody, no, actually, had an interaction with me, but I think that like so when I'm not reporting, I do art. I've established myself as a oil painter, as a prominent portrait oil painter, especially, which in a building like Congress, in a building like the White House, it's easy to find people egos that want themselves depicted on canvas. But the other thing I think is really important is to find people who are resisting and having an impact against these buildups against our communities, against our immigrant communities, against our Latino communities. So, for example, Bishop Michael Pham out in San Diego, right?
Mm.
He has created what's called the FAITH program, where Roman Catholic clergy and Roman Catholic scholars go to immigration court with immigrants. And Tom Homan, the borders are, is a practicing Catholic. 25% of a full quarter of Trump's cabinet are supposedly practicing Roman Catholics.
Well,
So we don't have this scoop yet, but we've gotten the impression that they have marching orders to stand down if they see a Roman collar. So I've been covering the heck out of that. There's a banner in Mount Pleasant, where is a neighborhood here in Washington D.C., and the banner was taken down by ICE. They made a big to do. It was like 8 masked agents looking like tough guys taking down a banner that said "Chinga la migra," they put it on social media, got like 1 million views. People were like, "Oh wow, this is like the least brave thing I've ever seen law enforcement do." But like within a couple of hours, the community had produced a new banner and put it up, and it's a small thing. You know what I mean? There are people whose lives are being destroyed. There are people whose families are being destroyed, and these are people are starting to see. And starting to notice, like, ICE is an important beat, immigration is an important beat. A lot of our colleagues are starting to cover this beat in a way
yeah,
that they've never had to before. But I think it's important to like give space in our reporting to those people who are doing the little things, the quiet, unassuming bishop, right? Who shows up and walks with immigrants as witnesses to this atrocity to try and ensure the dignity of human beings. And, the anonymous art community in Mount Pleasant who is willing to immediately like take a bed sheet off their own bed, paint it with a message, and hang it back up in their community. And as I was standing there last night, it was really encouraging. People were walking by this banner, and it's like it's almost like the photo booth at like a reception or a wedding. People are stopping and taking photos with it. They're making videos saying, "Hey, our banner is up," because the banner it means something. So I feel like beyond sort of what we do outside of work to decompress,
yeah.
there are things that we can actually cover that are extremely hopeful and that show that I keep telling people it's like this is going to get so much worse for migrants before it gets better, right? In DC, they now have the National Guard from I think 6 states who are arriving today through Friday. So the buildup is going to continue. So it's going to get so much worse before it gets better. But it is going to get better because people care about their bed sheet with a message that's written in paint, you know?
And it's because of you and people like you who have never stopped covering immigration and who've also filled a void while others have dipped off and run away from it and only covered it when it is sort of, the topic du jour from their managing editor or their bosses in their mainstream newsrooms. People like you, the Migrant Insider, and to plug your Substack, it's the Migrant Insider. They're doing work that no one else is doing. They're in the nation's capital. They're talking to lawmakers. They're taking reporting that they see throughout the country and getting to hold the powerful accountable, which is what journalism is all about. What a view right there. Let's,
Yeah.
you talk about Pablo because we were going to be joined by Jerrod as well. I want to try to bring him in again. Jerrod, if
Yeah.
you are not live, I know we're kind of having some technical problems. If you shut down your live and then just join mine, we might try it. Let's try it one more time while we look at that beautiful view that Pablo's given us.
Yeah, we are
Um,
the insiders here in the Capitol, the migrant insiders. And I hope, Nick, that by the end of this presidency, but even by the end of this congressional term, which ends next, let's see, the election is next November. I hope that there are more people covering immigration full time in this building and at the White House because a lot of people are being thrown onto the beat. They're developing an expertise. I am not somebody who's territorial. I get my scoops. I know I'm going to get my scoops. You know what I mean? But I want more people doing this. And now that so much, like the Washington Post, for example, they have a team of about 15 reporters right now, and that all they're doing is covering immigration. That is amazing. That is so helpful because the expertise that you get from having to track a detainee through a system one time. After that, you can track any detainee through the system for the rest of your career. The system doesn't really change, right? And the shenanigans that ICE uses to make people disappear, it's hard to find them the first time. It's hard to find that detainee. The second time, it's a little easier. Third
yeah.
time, it's a little easier. By the fourth time, you're talking to the Secretary of Homeland Security herself on the cell phone, right?
Mm,
Like you're
mm,
you're talking to for me, walking into the White House, or being, I will say this about the Trump White House to their credit, they are incredibly open door policy, much more so than the Biden people. You can walk right into Stephen Miller's office. You can walk right into like the press people's office. Now they'll tell you it's off the record, right? You could have that conversation, but um, it's the process of going through and chasing the story through these hoops, that our colleagues are developing across the nation, right? And
I
in the
think that's really
Washington,
I think
yeah,
that's really fascinating. Just dip in really quick here because it almost what I have on my mind is like they're standing on the business of their policy. They're saying, "Hey, we believe in what we're doing. The door is open if you want to come and talk about it. I know you can't, these are off the record conversations, but can you just talk about the spirit of what you touched on, like just the ability to go in? Stephen Miller is this sort of mythical like figure for a lot of people who don't have access like you do, who are not in the nation's capital. It's somebody that they see memes of on the internet. You're able to actually go into the office of Stephen Miller, who is seen as the architect of Trump's mass deportation policy. I'd
no,
love for you
he
to
he
speak on that.
he certainly is. I mean, the thing about Miller is I knew him from back in the day when he worked for Sessions because I've been in Washington for a long time. Now we're Migrant Insider. We are access journalists. I know access journalism gets a lot of negative play or whatever, but like I broke a news story this morning about a bill. I got the bill because I have access to the members of Congress, and they wrote the bill up because I asked Trump a question about the Afghan adjustment business, right? Like the Afghan war allies that some people are saying they're going to send back. So my question for them is not like, "Hey, Stephen Miller, why are you such a racist?" Right? Like, which is might be like kind of like the performative. I would call it performative, but some people will call it accountability. My thing is like, okay, what's your next move? Can I scoop it? Do you got any documents? Can I have the memo? Can I have the memo? Well, you can redact it. You know what I mean? I'll take it on embargo. I'll take it however you want, right? But I want it. I want it. And nobody else is doing that. And what I'm saying is, I hope, right, that eventually there will be more immigration reporters digging in like this so I could be the guy being like, why are you such a racist? Like, what? Who broke you back in California? Right? Because I have the voice and the personality, and I hate to say it, but kind of the reputation for pushing people around in press conferences. I would love to be that guy, but I'm the only one. So if I get kicked out, if my access gets pulled, right, there's nobody else here, and there's no example to follow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I hope that more people that there's a buildup on this beat, you know, but it hasn't happened yet. I hope it does happen. But right now, I'm obsessed with immigration, right? I'm obsessed with immigration policy. I'm obsessed with all this, like this whole thing that's happening. And another thing about Migrant Insider, we knew this was going to happen. I didn't think Trump was going to win. I thought Kamala was going to win humbly. But as soon as he won, the moment I knew he was going to win that night, I was at Howard University waiting for Kamala to come out and speak. I was like, oh my God, he won. I knew what was coming. All this buildup of the military and stuff like that hasn't surprised me at all. So it's not like, it's just sort of like, and I knew what I had to do. I had to get in deep, I had to make sure that there was at least somebody who had a foot in the community and a foot in the swamp, right? And that's me. I'm the guy with the foot in the community and the foot in the swamp. So hopefully there's more people who are going to come up. It can seem intimidating at first. I tell you, I asked Trump a question the other day. I said,
I
what
was
is
going to say
America's
that,
debt?
it was beautiful to see the evolution and the growth of your platform. Pablo was part of the pool, the White House pool. And if you guys don't know what that means, is basically he is the reporter for all of the other reporters that don't have the access. He was inside with the White House team within the bubble, right? And he is filing notes on his email, sending back updates real time, and he's getting to ask the president of the United States questions. So,
Yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
like to think of
tell
it.
me about that
He got
experience,
to
and then
answer
after
my
that,
question.
we're gonna get Jared on the
Yeah,
try again with
and
Jared. Okay.
I'm gonna boost anyway because I'm actually giving somebody a tour right now.
Oh.
But I will say what happened was I went in and I had never done pool before, right? And I remembered back when I first got into this building, the Capitol building, and I went to a Mitch McConnell press conference when he was majority leader and a Nancy Pelosi conference when she was House Speaker. The first questions I asked to these people, my knees shook. Now, granted, in both situations, I was in the Pelosi one, I was sitting down, but my knees shook because and it's not fear, it's adrenaline. You're like, oh my God, I have seen this movie. I have seen this on C-SPAN. I have seen The West Wing. I have seen all of these movies where people do this, right? And so the same with Trump. I went and I got to the White House at the call time was 8 a.m. I no at 9 a.m. So I got there at 8:47, right? And I walk in and Bernd Debusman from BBC, he walks by me. He's like, yo, Pablo, Tom Homan is outside. I'm like, oh, yeah, here we go. Like, you know what I mean? So I walked out to Tom Homan's press conference, right? And he's standing there. He was talking on Fox Business in one of the little booths there. So we set up a little microphone to bait him over, right? We're like, and then Burns like, hey, Mr. Homan, can you come over and get some questions? I'm like, okay, so this is what we do. We just yell questions at him. Newsmax took the first question. And then Tom Homan, you know how it is in press conferences. Some people work right to left. Some people do popcorn, right? Like around the
Right.
room. Homan,
Right.
I could tell right away, was a right to left or a left to right guy. So he starts on the right, Newsmax, Fox News, Gateway Pundit or something like that. And then right when he got to me, I took one big step forward, right? So I'm like, 2, 3 feet in front of Tom Homan, like in front of everybody else. And I was like, I'm taking the rest of these questions. I'm the only immigration reporter here. Nobody else's questions matter, but Migrant Insider's questions,
And
right?
you asked a question that no one else would. You
I
asked,
asked four
what are
questions,
you,
nobody else.
amen, but you asked, what are you going to do about the Afghans who helped us? What
Yeah,
are you going to do about their visas, about their immigration status?
yeah. I also asked him, do detainees have the right to celebrate Mass? As a Roman Catholic, the Archbishop of Miami is saying he can't get into Alligator Alcatraz. He's like, I had no idea about that. Where'd you read that? I'm like, the National Roman Catholic Reporter, bro. Pick up a paper, right? And then I asked him, yo, Palantir. Palantir is working on this big database system to be able to track
Yeah.
people down. I'm like, is it on schedule? He had no idea. I'm like, do I know more about your deportation army than you do? Probably at this point. But the most important question I asked him was, how was he able to deliver so much more for Obama than he's been able to deliver for Trump, right? And he blah 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 blah, gave his like answer. But I go back in there and man, I'm just like full of adrenaline. I'm just like, God, I just pushed Tom Homan around at a press conference. I got some news out of it, blah, blah, and then I could tell the whole White House press force was like, okay, Pablo's in the building. You know what I mean? Because I've never been a big fan of them, of the White House press because I'm arrogant and they are awesome. I think, it was my own
You're not
arrogance and stuff
arrogant,
like that.
man. You have
But
a confidence and you have a voice and you're direct. That's one of the reasons I admire you as a friend, is you are going to speak what's on your heart in not a way that cuts anyone down. You're the guy that's walking into Stephen Miller's office, even though you could say 1,000 things to him and you're trying to get the scoop, like you're
yeah,
moving in good faith. Sure, some people are going to be rubbed by that, but our job, Pablo, is not to party with the powerful. It's to hold the powerful accountable.
yeah,
That's what
except
you
at
do.
Christmas time. I want to get on the White House Christmas party list. And I
Yeah.
always tell everybody,
Invite
like,
me then,
I,
all
re- I
right? Let
reached
me
out
be
to
your plus one.
I reached out to Israelis the other day, right? And because they have these like press trips, and I want to go to Israel see like the Catholic sites. I mean, I was the first person in the press corps called it a genocide what they were doing in Gaza, right? I don't know anything about Israel, Palestine, or whatever, but I always am honest about this. I tweet about it, so everybody knows what I'm up to. There's nobody who's ever going to get oh my gosh, Pablo was in Stephen Miller's office, like he's friends with Stephen. What? Are you serious? I told everybody about this on Nick's show, right? So, but the cool thing was like, so the pool duty that a reporter has when they're in the White House press, it means that it's a small pool of reporters so that when the president is giving remarks in a smaller space, there's only a few select reporters who can go into that space. And you represent the press corps. Now, my plan was to ask about dreamers, right? Because Trump has always said that he wants to help the dreamers. I
Sure.
have asked Mike Johnson and I have asked John Thune what they're going to do to deliver for Trump for the dreamers. They're like, oh, no, we're just waiting for guidance from the White House. So I'm all like, okay, I'm going to ask Trump about the dreamers. So I walk into the room and it was a bill signing ceremony. I didn't even know what the ceremony was. I didn't even know where to look it up. I had never done pool duty before, right? And I see Derek Van Orden, a congressman from Wisconsin, standing there. I'm like, hey, yo, congressman, what's this bill you're about to sign, right? He's just like, and did you show up on your Harley, right? He's like, yo, yeah, it's about veterans. It's about veterans assistance. I'm like, I can't ask about dreamers at a veterans press conference. I got to ask about veterans. So I was like, there's two topics I could think of: deported veterans and Afghan adjustment. And I was like, well, I think that the more consequential one, because there's 80,000 of them, is the
Yeah.
Afghans. So I'm like, we're going with
Yeah.
the Afghans, right? So they had this boom mic kind of over my shoulder, right? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait and let Jerrod, who's a good guy from Fox Radio, he asked the first question. I noticed everybody goes, Mr. President, Mr. President. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna time my question at the end of Mr. Right? So everybody's like, Mr. President, Mr. President. I'm like, when they say Mr., I go, what is America's debt? Like as loud as I possibly could into the microphone so the C-SPAN could hear me, you know? to our Afghan war
This is the
allies who kept
strategy to
our
get your
guys
voice
safe
heard.
over there. Yeah,
I love
exactly.
it.
Like there's a lot of talk about deporting them, and he's like, no, we're going to protect like 90% of these guys. So all of a sudden, ever since then, for the last like 3 weeks or last month or whatever since that happened, I've gotten inboxes full of people being like, hey, can you help me with my case? Right? I can't. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about that. But I have gotten some Afghans who are like, look, I want to tell you my story. And those are the ones I'm working on, you know?
God bless you, Pablo. I love
Yeah.
that you're shaking things up. I love what a force of nature you are. I love that you're making people feel uncomfortable, man. That I think and it's not from a place of bad faith either. Like I said, I keep saying you move in good faith, and we're so proud of you, man. We're so proud of the work that you're doing. I know that you're in the middle of all this stuff. You talked about veterans. We want to be joined by another one. Hopefully, Jerrod Zisser's got it all. His technical problems all worked out. Pablo, God bless you, man. Thank you again. I'll
Love you,
reach
brother.
out. I'll call you soon. We'll talk soon, my
Yeah.
brother. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Sounds
Pablo
good.
Manríquez with the Migrant Insider. Go follow their work, guys. They're doing one of a kind reporting, one of a kind journalism. Have a great rest of the day, brother. Have a great day on purpose.
You too,
All
brother.
right.
Thank you for having me on.
You got it. You got it. Let's get Jerrod in here. Maybe it's all worked out with Jerrod, and we'll try to keep going from here. Man, that guy's full of energy. Pablo is full of good time. Ah, there he is. Got it all worked out.
It worked. Excellent. Sorry about that.
No worries. You know what I really love about Substack is that we just had a conversation, not only about some of the scoops that Pablo has, but how he goes about getting them and sort of like a window behind the scenes into
Yeah.
a reporter's life. I mean, I don't know how much you heard about it, but like, just it was insightful for me. And like, that's what I love about it. It's like, I time my question at the end of Mister. Like, what? You're not going to hear
No,
that
that
stuff
was
on.
that was really impressive actually.
So
That was
impressive.
really
You're
impressive.
impressive. The spotlight's on you, Jerrod. Welcome to the
Oh
show.
man. Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I mean, you're a very well-known journalist, and I love that you're independent now, honestly. I mean, I don't I don't say a lot of bad things about mainstream media, but I don't know. I feel like the biggest changes that are going to be happening in the next 3 to 5 years in this country are going to be done by the independents like you. And
And you. And you.
thank you. Yeah, I mean,
That's what we see. I mean, it's not. No one is here to shit on mainstream media. I'm not anyway. I'm
no,
sure people can come on. People can come on and say what they will, and I give them the platform and the space for that. CNN taught me so much. They taught me the framework of the fundamentals of journalism: who,
oh
what,
yeah,
where, when, why. There's a lot that I learned there that I still apply now to this independent space.
oh
But then
yeah, I'm sure.
I see guys like you that are out there, and you're broadcasting for an audience, and your content is meant to be digested on the phone. You're not doing stuff for TV or for or tell me, like, what is your approach, and sort of how have you seen yourself fill the space and your platform that you bring?
Yeah, so I mean, look, I'm as new as it gets to being a journalist. I started this 4 months ago, and did not have a following before that, and really just kind of found my way back to my oath that I took when I joined the United States Marine Corps. And,
Thank you so
since
much for your service.
oh, thank you. Since Trump got back into office, I've just been it's been happening so fast that I just feel like democracy, human rights, civil rights. I mean, just everything is just becoming stripped so fast and from so many people. And I just really wanted to do my part. I mean, we have like part of my family is Jewish.
Mm,
And there were conversations that were had many times about people that were asked when the Jews were lined up on the streets getting ready to get picked up by trucks to go to the train station. Did you ever do anything to try to stop that at all? Did you do anything to try to stop, the genocide in any way? And most people said no. And I thought about it, and I do not want to be asked that question by my kids.
mm.
I mean, and if I am, I want to be able to say, "Look, I picked up a computer and a phone, and I started trying to do something." So, um, and
What
that's
were you doing before this? Like, what was filling your life up before you jumped into the independent journalism space, other than your service?
yeah. So when I got out of the service, I did about 9.5 years of real estate in Los Angeles and San Diego, which is where I'm at right now, and the only part about that job I liked was talking and being with people, like showing them houses, going through
Yeah.
making them feel comfortable and better about their decision. I hated every other aspect of it, but it was a good way to make money. So I stuck with
Amen.
it. And I really just got into kind of a depression and funk, and just I needed to find my purpose. I'm like, I spent 38 years of my life, granted, when I was a kid, I probably didn't do that, but like trying to find like where do I belong? What am I meant for? And I think this is actually it. I just started, my wife actually told me you'd be really good at just breaking the news for people on social media. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
And I literally found a story, went in the garage and did it right there. And I do between 10 and 20 stories a day on Instagram, TikTok. I'm not consistent on Substack, but I'm getting better at it.
Mm.
But I'm just really trying to bring truth and facts. I will spend quite a bit of time before I do a story to really make sure I understand it and that it comes from reputable sources, that I can find the government documents, the memos, and everything else that
Mm.
actually corroborate exactly what's being said. Because I feel like whether or not mainstream media is, good or bad, there's just a lot of rhetoric out there that really
So
is
much.
it's kind of clouding whether or not you can trust, CNN, MSNBC, or I mean, anybody else. You know what I
You
mean?
know what
Like,
I see the most difference? The biggest difference to me, Jared, is I feel I went from working for a boss to working for the people. The
yes,
people are
yes,
now my boss. I
yes,
went from working for an audience of sort of one or a handful to working for all of you guys who are subscribing, who are watching, and who are following.
yeah,
That is a shift in perspective, and it gives me goosebumps because you talk about, and I want to pull on this thread here. You talked about the oath that you took.
yeah.
What is it that oath that you think about when you're on the streets? Because we're going to get to you and what you saw in the nation's capital. But what is it
It's crazy.
that earnestness, that comes with what you're doing? What is it about this oath, and what do you think about when you hear that?
Yeah, so basically, I think the Constitution is probably one of the most beautiful things that has ever been written and has been amended and built on throughout time and throughout time and throughout time.
Mm.
And the reason I love it so much is because it was created by flawed men who had a vision of a society that could adapt and grow to be the best they possibly could in all ways. And I say flawed. Yeah, there were slave owners. They just got there in a huge war and all this and that. But they had this vision of, a society that I feel like we were actually getting closer to. I mean, we had rights for LGBTQ plus, that were really starting to take shape. I mean, civil rights movement. We made so much progress, and the only reason we were able to do those things was one because of the First Amendment, and actually multiple other amendments as well. But I I don't hold myself to a president, and I never did, even when I was serving my country. That Constitution, if you really look into what the Constitution is, there is no better literature in the world than that Constitution. And it's just because of what it's meant to do and how it can be changed. And I am terrified that Constitution, and that's what we swore our oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. And I am terrified that Constitution, I mean, I'll be honest with you right now, it's tainted already just because of what's happening and all the violations and everything that's going on in the White House right now. Um, it's completely tainted, and it really kills me. You know,
And it must be especially difficult to see it. Part of the reason I was excited to have you on the show is because you bring that perspective of your military background. And then
yeah,
what we saw this past weekend with the escalation of a handful of mostly red states sending in their National Guard troops to the nation's
yep,
capital, a place that had had a drop in crime, 30-year drop in crime. It's not a time when it is needed, or one of the most violent
no.
times, someone could argue. What was it like for you as a Marine to see National Guardsmen and women on the streets of the nation's capital policing? What was that like?
I'll be honest with you. I felt like the Iraqis that I was patrolling in my two tours in Iraq. I was very shocked actually because when I went outside on my second day, I was going to find a Starbucks. I was in Chinatown in DC, and I I wasn't outside for more than 5 minutes, and I think I counted 16 HSI agents, DEA, and ATF agents just walking around, and you could see people. You could see people were like, and not like I saw them before, but they were tense.
Like a physical
They were
reaction to what they saw. Because that's not
completely.
normal for
Oh
people. I mean, it's normal
no,
in
no,
some countries to see people on long guns on the streets, but thank God it's not normal here, right? But it's starting to
exactly.
be
No, no.
normalized.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, I think Trump said this is like a nice little project. This is his testing ground. He wants to see how this works out before he does another. He's mentioned Chicago. He's mentioned Alabama. He's mentioned Arizona, and yeah, Arizona. But so it's really terrifying because so I was there for 4.5 days, and I was supposed to fly to Spain with my wife 3 days, 2 days into that trip with my kids, and my wife told me you gotta go. So I changed my ticket. I flew to DC, and my goal was to just talk to as many people as possible. And I had a conversation with David Pakman. I'm assuming you know who David Pakman is. He's a
Yeah.
wonderful man, just completely wonderful man. And he told me, talk to both extremes. He's like, I tried for days to get into a squad car and do ride-alongs and everything. Unfortunately, I got approved right after I left. But
It always works like that, right?
it always works like that. But I spoke with a lot of homeless people. I spoke with over 10 Uber drivers, and I literally was just stopping people. I would go out around 10 a.m. and I would not come back to my hotel room until about 2 a.m.
Wow.
So I would only take cars to certain areas, and I'd walk and do everything. But really, my thing was, I really got to find out what's actually happening, and they're literally creating a state of fear. And I say that because of the tactics that they're using. They would say it's tactics, but I mean, the things that they would do, for one, they're starting to carry long guns. And I was in a pizza place at 1 a.m. trying to get dinner because I haven't eaten lunch or anything. And it was 8 federal agents. They were from different DEA, ATF. I think one was HSI. M4s, packed up completely, going in to order pizza
Get
because
pizza.
they're patrolling, getting
Yeah.
pizza. Like, it's cool. Like, the normal thing to do. And the
Right.
girl that was literally on the left of the door as you walk in, there's 2 women that were there, started shaking profusely, started hyperventilating, started like crying. This guy's in there walking with a rifle almost at a 45-degree angle, which in combat, that means you're basically ready to lift. That's what that basically means. So,
How does that not feel like a police state? How does that not
no,
feel like
it completely is. It was terrible. I literally felt nothing but aggression and fear while I was there, and I was there
this
for
energy you pick up on, and all of a sudden, whether or not bullets are flying or guns are being pointed, the energy you step into the city, you feel it, and it's almost like I hear from my progressive friends, the terror is the point. That's the point.
Oh, yeah.
Chaos is the policy to disrupt, to make people feel uncomfortable and unsettled, and it's working.
And it's working. And the sad thing is, they're celebrating it, and they're saying that they got 63 arrests in one day. The average arrest in Washington D.C. in a 24-hour period is between 50 and 75 on a daily basis. It's they're not doing anything. I mean, they're not improving on anything. And the guard that's there, I mean, dude, they just look so bored. The guard they're based at the Union Station. They'll come and drive around a little bit. They're not really doing much. It's the federal agents are doing everything.
And what
They
exactly,
are-
Jared, are they doing? I mean, I know that you were from the side of a homeless encampment, so they're meant to go at crime, but they're going after the unhoused. I mean, what's
Yeah,
going on?
so I was walking back to my hotel to take a break, and I saw a lot of police squad cars and over by the Martin Luther King Memorial Library in downtown DC. And there was a ton of photojournalists out there, which was the first time oh, great, they are out here. That's good to see. And tons of cops. And I was like, so what's happening here? And there was a gentleman next to me who was the director of the National Homeless Law. I have to look. I have his card. but basically it was an organization of people that literally tried to make sure that the rights of homeless people in America are at the same standard as everybody else
Got it.
when it comes politically and everything else.
It's basic human
So
rights.
basic, exactly. So Trump basically ordered to have all the homeless people moved out of DC. Now, that was a basic extent of it. Nobody really knew what that actually meant. So I had a conversation with this man. I offered to pay for an Uber to go to a new site, and he told me that there are 75 sites in DC that are going to be hit by an FBI task force, literally a task force that was put together to go and arrest every single homeless person in DC. They literally had 3 garbage trucks behind them. They throw their belongings and their tents. Everything goes in the garbage truck, and then it gets crushed. And then they get thrown in trucks, vans, whatever. Some go to the hospital. Some are going to jail. And the other ones, I mean, they were working so closely with every shelter in DC. There's vans and buses everywhere, but they all said we don't have enough room for this.
Is this
I
the
mean, we don't
best
have.
use of our National Guardsmen? Is this the
No, my
best
God.
use of our, because I think of what you're saying, and I think that has happened recently here in Atlanta. In fact, there was a homeless person who was killed by as they were clearing it out because they didn't do a good enough job. That was a headline here, a few months ago. And I think, is this the best use of our guardsmen here? Like, what's the point of this? We know what it is. I'm asking a rhetorical question, but it's like,
Of course,
did you
but
talk to
yeah.
anyone that was like, yeah, we're so happy they finally showed
Oh
up.
my God.
Thank God for Trump. Anyone?
The first person that was the first Uber driver that I was in the car with, he was only been in this country for 20 months, and I brought up the fact that he was going to be doing that, and he was like, "Yeah, Mr. Trump is going to clean up the nastiness off the streets." I'm just like, okay. I mean, like,
Because
that's
you know
really how
what,
you
Jerry? It
feel about it.
sounds
Like,
good
okay,
on the baseline. When you start saying things that, that's kind of how Trump, I think, got so many people. It sounds good.
of
Let's
course.
make America great again. It
No,
sounds good to the black and white thinker. It sounds good to somebody who may not have the best critical thinking skills, right? Um, let's clean up our streets. Yeah, I could get behind that. Let's do that, right? Let's go. Let's go for it until you see how it's done and what
but
they're.
people don't ask for details. They don't ask for the plan. They don't ask how you're going to do this. I mean, that's what I've learned from journalism. I've only done this for 4 months, but I've read several books already, and it's just not. And that's the thing that people don't do. They don't go past the question or past the statement. They just say, "Perfect. I love it. Let's go." And this was the thing that broke my heart, though. I couldn't believe this. They were given until the 18th of August to move out, and nothing will happen to them. There was literally letters on the tents that were given them until the 18th. So we got word that they were literally going to be doing this on the 13th. It was the night of the 13th. And I was like, I don't know if I can help. I only have like 160,000 subscribers across like everything, but I can try.
Only 160,000, man. That's
Well,
awesome.
Thank you. But I was going up against the FBI, so I thought I needed like millions. You know what I mean? It was the FBI. So I
love it.
started a
And there's
live.
like nothing, there's no humble brag there. You're like actually like that's humility, right? I love that. I'm so
No,
grateful.
I just didn't think that was going to be. I didn't think I had. I mean, and my followers were incredible. Oh my God!
It's
I literally
because
went
you're
on.
incredible. You're doing this work that no one else is. Everyone else is focusing on what's going on over here. This is what I love about independent journalism, is that we can continue to stay on the topic and go deep on this issue. We've been talking about immigration on a detailed level
Forever.
forever, right? I've been talking about immigration for 20 years, but it's in the last 3 months that I've spent the most amount of energy that I've ever had, and that's including 7 weeks of living on the border during family separation. I want to pick up about what you see your contributions to journalism and sort of how you've seen the role of the independent in this space under this administration. Like, why do you think what you're doing is so important? I'm not baiting you. I really want to hear what you have to say.
No, please. I mean, look. I mean, being a journalist right now is a scary thing. In my opinion, I think it's pretty scary. My
Absolutely.
wife thinks so too. I mean, I
People
think we're the
tell me to get a
last.
flak jacket all the time.
I know, man. I know. I mean, when I was in DC, I had a gas mask and everything on me just in case I needed it, and I have a flak jacket too, but I didn't bring it. But it's we're the last line of defense before we go into full-blown authoritarianism, because like literally any expert will tell you that as soon as they start prosecuting journalists, that's it, we're done, nothing else, because there's literally no accountability at that point. But my what I would love to inspire others to just pick up their phone and start just talking about what they're seeing. And not just that, it's like look, to be a journalist, a true journalist, from what I understand, you need to separate emotion, talk about facts. And I'm a very emotional person, and I will be the first to admit that. I'm a very emotional person. Like when I was and we beat the FBI that night, by the way. We beat the FBI. We had people show up. The FBI left. There were 45 agents we had leave. It was amazing. But I was on a live going back and forth for 2 hours, begging people to tag Aaron Parnas, tag Midas Touch, tag all these people. And then
I
look at it.
got
I got
tagged.
50.
Yeah.
You got yeah, Jessica, my one of my best friends in the world, Jessica, she tagged you. And 50 and 1 did a post with me to spread awareness. Midas Touch did a post with me to spread awareness. People showed up. The FBI got kicked out. It was incredible.
How do
They were
you see
literally trying
your
to
role
sneak in.
now after that? I mean, that is impact. That's there to affect change. I get so geeked up about journalism because we have an amendment. We have,
Yeah,
the First Amendment, right?
yeah,
We are the
yeah.
fourth estate. We are a check and balance. We hold the powerful accountable. How did that
That's my.
feel? How did that feel?
I'll be honest with you. It felt like the. I hate to sound like this, but I've never felt so powerful. But I've never felt such a weight of responsibility. And I didn't actually really feel that until I was in DC, because I've been reporting from. I mean, I did the LA. I did the LA protest and everything else.
That's
But
where I first saw you. Yeah.
oh, is that right? Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that's where
an
you first
insane
popped up
day.
in my feeds. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But no, it was such a weight of responsibility, and such a vision of, you know, this is what I was meant for. Like, my time in Iraq was not meant for anything else but to give me the fortitude to be able to go in front of a police officer or FBI agent's face and literally hold them accountable. I mean, I I was verbally assaulted by several HSI officers. I had one guy step into my face. I mean, these guys are, and I honestly feel like if I didn't have the combat experience, the training that I have, then that probably would have been like a scary thing for me, maybe. But I feel like I've been shaped my whole entire life to be able to go up to people that are in these roles of power, or have these egos that have just been completely blown above anything else in their life, and they're trying to control and manipulate people, and be able to hold them accountable is, I feel like if you can do that, it's a gift from God, in my opinion.
I was just going to say what I love about you is that you're moving with purpose, that you're
That's
moving
the whole
with
thing. I feel like I do. Yeah,
intention.
I feel like I am.
Yeah, and that this has sort of been, from what it sounds like, a culmination of all your life experiences to prepare you for this moment when, and I agree, Jerrod, journalism matters more than ever.
I
I was judging the Cronkite Awards yesterday with Marvin Cobb. Marvin Cobb is one of the Murrow boys, right? 95 years
Yeah,
old, one of the Edward R. Murrow boys. And I just, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, because I was sharing a space with someone who I believe is the quintessential journalist, right? One of them. He
yeah,
represents
a
everything.
legend.
A legend, right? And here we
Yeah,
are, and he's telling us that journalism matters more than ever right now. And so
yep,
when people like you and me get on together and we get to talk about what we're seeing, sometimes journalism isn't anything more than just pointing at something and saying, that's happening. Look at that.
yeah, absolutely.
I am here. This is really happening behind me.
Yeah,
And you're doing, and I want to give you your flowers, man. You are doing an exceptional job, and I know it's a lot. I know because, look, man, I too am an emotional person. My wife can vouch for this. I'm likely
mine
to
too.
cry every single day, bro. I well up with the good tears, bad tears, beautiful
Yeah,
being a father, all these things. Today
same
I was
here.
crying over my dad, and the blessing it is for me to be a father in my life, because right now it can feel like what we're doing isn't affecting anything in the short term. Like we're yelling into
Mm.
the void. And then there are moments like you had on Saturday night where it just feels like, yes, I'm making a difference. I'm standing
Yep.
where I need to be. anywhere my feet are is where I'm meant to be. And
Yeah.
you're exactly where you need to be, man. I want to ask you before we let you go, because I've got a heart
Yeah.
out here. Is there anything that you want to talk about? Anything that you want to say that I haven't asked you that you think is important to know? Anything that you want to talk about? Now's your chance, man. Have a few minutes.
I mean, I would say that, I mean, people that are watching, people that are on here obviously have their eyes open
Yeah,
and they're paying attention. But I think it's important that people start normalizing talking about what's going on in the world. I mean, I'm the kind of person that can have a conversation with a MAGA and keep things civil and still make that person laugh and actually kind of have like a heart to heart about the situation. Not that I'm trying to change their mind about something, but at the same time, I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job or being a good American if I couldn't hear that person out.
I was
I
talking to
mean,
a Trump voter for an hour before I got on with you.
there you go. So there you go. So that's like I think it's super important. So being able to kind of detach a little bit from your hardcore beliefs and your values, not forgetting them, but just putting them aside for a moment and being able to have an intellectual conversation with somebody who is completely opposite of you. I think in the right setting, we need to do more of that. We really do need to do more of that, and
Help
not
me
to
with
just change
this.
the minds of other
Help me with
people,
this,
but
because how do you meet somebody in the middle that continues to move the goalpost? Or how do you continue to talk to somebody who you feel so let down by? Like, what do you do, honestly?
yeah, I guess that's tough. That's actually really tough. It's for the better good. I just keep telling myself. I mean, it's really hard to. Some of my neighbors where I live in San Diego are like super MAGA.
Sure,
So
man. It's a
like if
lot of military around there. It's a very
oh
conservative
yeah,
place.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So having those conversations with him, I went golfing with a friend who's very much like that. He's a Navy SEAL active, and we're totally on opposite ends completely. But we've agreed that we're not going to ruin our friendship or anything over that, and I'm not going to look at him as a worse off person because of these things that are happening. Because in my opinion, there's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of things that are happening, a lot of distractions. 24/7 news. It's just hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. You have no idea what to focus on. You don't even know what's happening half the time
That's why
because
people
you
are
just heard
turning away.
10 other things. I know. But that's the scary thing, and that right there will be one of the ends of democracy for us, is the fact that there are so many things being thrown out there and so many things that are happening. What's actually meant to be the distraction? What's actually serious? And what did he actually mean? And what did he not mean? So I don't really penalize a lot of Trumpers,
Yeah.
because I feel as if there's a really big misunderstanding that may have just got in there. And for some people, it's not. For some people, it's not. That's
Well,
just their
your
values.
background probably helps you a lot with that perspective, because you could see somebody as a real person. I
Oh
had a
yeah,
Democratic strategist on who was saying, "Why are we so surprised by the rise in popularity of Trump? We all have a member in our family who's a little racist, who or an uncle who says some real
yeah.
outlandish shit, and you forgive him and you
Literally
love
my
him
uncle.
anyway." Right?
Yep.
Like, or whatever. And whoever it is in your family, we all have that one person in our
Yep.
orbit that we're not incredibly proud of, maybe, or maybe don't agree with, but we still love them anyway, right? You reminded
Yeah.
me about that today, because sometimes I do. I had a conversation earlier this week with somebody who told me that compassion and empathy is a weapon that can be used against them, so they don't want to use it anymore.
So
And so that for me is when I have to draw the line and say, look, that are we really debating the value of compassion at this
that's
point?
yeah,
You know, I can't. And that's sort of where I've got to walk away and I've got to take a
100%,
seat, you know,
100%.
but I'm not going to stop loving them. And I do also, much like you, I don't know, we're getting to know each other here, but like, I believe in God. I have faith. I pray every day. I
So do I.
also don't expect others to follow what I believe, because I believe
Of
we're all
course
on
not.
our own personal journey. And so
Absolutely.
you're on a beautiful journey, and we're so grateful that you popped in here on the Nick Valencia live show to hang out with us, man.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Thank
much.
you so much for giving me your time. I really appreciate it.
Hey, plug your show really quick. If you can say where people can find you, where they can find your work and
Yeah,
sign up
no,
for it.
thank you. So, I would say the two best things to follow would be my YouTube channel. I just started it. I'm dropping videos daily. I'm on day 2 of being in federalized DC, where I have all my images and videos and everything and breaking down everything that happened. Instagram, Jerrod Zisser. And then I think it's TikTok is Jerrod Zisser, but it's Jerrod.Zisser, I believe. So yeah, please give me a follow. I break news on the daily, just every day. I break news.
He's out
So
there doing
that's
it.
what I do for a living.
One of the good ones out there. Thank you so much, man. God bless you, and thank you
Thanks,
very
Nick.
much for your service, man, and what you're doing out there. Journalism is an act of service, so thank you for your continued service.
I agree. So thank you for what you're doing.
You got it, man. You could drop off, and I'll wrap up here. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining us here. We had Pablo on, who helped us out with some technical problems that we had early on. I think what happened was Jerrod was live. I got an invitation before he joined my live. We got it all worked out. Pablo, man, talk about energy. I mean, that's how he is all the time. That's how I met him. I remember the first time I met him, it was in Washington, D.C. This is back when I was drinking, and he made his way to the bar, and he just sort of took over, as it were. He walked into the space and he just sort of took over. That's the kind of guy he is. He's a really, really big sweetheart, man, with a big personality. You could see how he might rub some people the wrong way, but not us, man. He's speaking truth to power. What's next for us? We have a heart out. We would love to keep talking with Jerrod, but we have a heart out because we're about to talk to NPR in Utah. We're continuing on our reporting. Some of you guys may have seen the reporting that we released yesterday talking about the impact of small businesses and American-owned businesses in Utah, and how even a place like West Valley City, which is predominantly Latino, even a place that has not seen the kinds of raids that we've seen videos of in and around Southern California, they are feeling the impacts of Trump's mass deportation policy. People are too scared to go outside. People are too scared to go to work. People are too fearful that they might get separated from their family to go get medical care. We're seeing the impact trickle down. One candy shop owner told us that he made $7,000 a month before Trump was president. He's lucky if he breaks 1,000. And because of that, this month is his last month. On Thursday, we'll be joined by our first ever elected lawmakers on this show. We'll be joined by Senator Escamilla and Representative Romero of Utah, State Senator Escamilla, who made history as, I believe, being the first immigrant elected to the state Senate there in Utah. So they will join us on the program coming up here on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then the final bit of news here, it was last night. You guys heard a little sneak peek of it earlier. We booked a trip to go down to South Florida. We've been following the injustices and the corruption going on at the Dade Collier Airport and Transition Center, TNT. President Trump calls it Alligator Alcatraz. We're going to head down there. We're going down to do some door knocks, to talk to some people who have been connected, who have been working in that facility. And we're going to bring you some exclusive reporting from when we go down there. We're really excited, and we continue to get affirmations that this is our journey, that this is our purpose, and that this is what we're here for, to step up and to step into this void, and to step up and to speak for our people. We're unbought, we're unfiltered, we're unafraid, and this was the latest episode of Nick Valencia Live. Subscribe, guys. Tell your friends. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day on purpose.